Hello, and welcome to Lesson 10 of the Masuda Ashi Introductory course. This will be the first of two lessons talking about Masuda Ashi shadow rules. Also, apologies for the poor audio in lesson number 9. Hopefully that will have been corrected in this lesson. Now, as we mentioned at the end of lesson number 9, there are two Masuda Ashi shadow rules that we should also be aware of, which will help us in looking at charts and being able to read what is likely going to happen. And the first rule relates to what you can see on the screen right now. You can see that in this yellow area there are two very, very long pink Masuda Ashi real bodies with long shadows extending from those bodies. Now, reading from the top, it says near-term correction or sideways trading likely following the emergence of two consecutive long pink Masuda Ashi real bodies with shadows, which is what we have. So what it's saying is after you see the emergence of two very long pink Masuda Ashi real bodies with very long shadows, this is likely to be followed by a correction, meaning a pullback or a decline in the shares, or alternatively some kind of sideways trading here, which is exactly what has happened in this case. Now the other point is we're not going to go into a discussion of what possibly caused this rise. It could have been any number of factors, an announcement by the company or an analyst's rating or target price on the company or some other kind of related news. But in general, this stock had been trending pretty smoothly, actually. Even the 3-day short-term Masuda Ashi real body line did not have that much volatility in it, and the short-term, medium-term and long-term lines all trended quite in a close range, quite tightly together. Suddenly we have this 1-2 explosion in the Masuda Ashi real body and shadows on the pink side. Now that's obviously an anomaly, and something must be behind this. So we would not necessarily want to say, wow, this is going up really quickly, let's get on and buy, because by the time this has happened, you're probably going to be buying somewhere around this top range. So we would want to stay away from this, because we now know from learning about Masuda Ashi real bodies with shadows that two long consecutive pink real bodies and shadows are likely to mark a near-term top, followed by a correction or sideways trading. So you would not want to be buying into this stock, particularly in the heat of the rise, because this is probably what's going to be following very soon after. So that is basically the first rule. And let's now have a look at the pattern itself. If we look at this pattern, we have a few haramis happening here, don't we? We've got this extremely long one, this pink real body and shadow, followed by another very long pink real body and shadow. However, the second Masuda Ashi real body and shadow is enclosed by the top and the bottom of the previous period's Masuda Ashi real body and shadow. So this is a good example of a bearish harami. All of the other subsequent Masuda Ashi real bodies and shadows are actually, well, they're all enclosed by this very large one, and they're also enclosed by this one as well. So we have an extended harami position here, a bearish harami. So this is a key point to watch out for. Don't get caught up in the hype, and definitely do not buy into this kind of pattern, because you're likely to buy somewhere near the top and then be in a situation where the share price soon falls or corrects thereafter. Let's have a look at at the chart now for a real example. Here we have a chart for Yokore, which is code number 2874. And you can see that there are a couple of very long pink Masuda Ashi real bodies and shadows here. And also here. And here this stock has been quite volatile. Now, let's have a look more closely. We have 1, 2, this is almost like the pattern that we were just looking at in the diagram, and this would indicate, in this case we do not have a bearish harami happening with the 2 long pink Masuda Ashi real bodies and shadows together, but we do have the bearish harami occurring here and in the subsequent trading range here. It's not so much of a correction, but a very sideways trading range, as you can also confirm here by the Japanese candlestick chart. And then we have another burst of activity. We have 1, 2, 3 this time. 3 pink Masuda Ashi real bodies and shadows. And the final pink real body and shadow is followed by downward turning blue Masuda Ashi real bodies and shadows. This is a case of a bearish harami. And one more, we have 1, 2, 3. Well, this is actually a downturn, isn't it? We've got the long pink real body, but the shadow here is a different color, it's blue. So the closing price was actually below the high price for this pink real body. Nevertheless, it is an indicator of a near-term top, because this is a bearish harami too. And as would be expected from our rules, the subsequent Masuda Ashi blue real bodies and shadows are evidence of the decline. Now, just looking at one more stock, we have here 3408 Sakai Orbex, and let's have a look to see if we can identify 2 or 3 consecutive long pink Masuda Ashi real bodies and shadows, and whether or not they end up indicating a near-term turning point. Here's one section here. 1, 2, 3. Steep rise in the pink Masuda Ashi real bodies and shadows. This is a warning sign, especially when we consider how little volatility there has been in this rise. It's been quite steady. So this kind of sharp burst is cause for caution in any case. And then we have a bearish harami, followed by a slight decline and a bit of sideways trading, as you can see here. The Japanese candlestick chart, the share price has basically gone flat. Then we go into a decline, and followed by a little bit of a rally rebound, but then going into decline again. So there has been an overall larger correction back to around the level here. Oh, here's another very steep rise. We've got the sharp rising energy. You can see this very long, in Japanese they call it yosen. It's the upward candlestick, where this was the open, this was the close for that day. That's a big jump. This is reflected in the rise in the pink Masuda Ashi real bodies and shadows here. But again, we have a bearish harami happening within those 2 pink Masuda Ashi bodies themselves, followed by a correction. So keep an eye out for this kind of pattern. It can definitely help you identify near-term tops. It ties in again with the 4 patterns that we looked at before, the critical pattern formations: bearish harami, bearish reversal, bullish harami, bullish reversal. And this is all for lesson 10. It's quite a short one. And in lesson 11, the second about Masuda Ashi shadow rules, we'll be looking a little bit more at this stock, Sakai Orbex, as an example, and we'll talk to you then. Thank you.